the video that started it all. A little over 2 years ago, Max and Natalie, an awesome couple from Germany, joined me on a trip to Joshua Tree National Park, where I sat under an overland awning for the first time. Thank you, Natalie and Max, for the inspiration. I suddenly knew I needed one for myself. Being on a budget, awnings are kind of expensive. I decided to build one, and this is what I came up with. It became the first video that we posted on the channel, just sharing the design, and it did so well. We made a build video that's done amazingly well. We're at over almost 120,000 views on the very first video, and it's been 2.5 years. Figured it's time to show you it's still kicking. Let's talk about some pros and cons, how it does in weather, the build, and I'll give you some of my final thoughts too. Let's talk about some pros. This awning is $100. There's not many awnings you can get that are 8x8 and this sturdy for under $300–400 at the low end. And the build, it's easy to build. You get the parts from any local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere. It's conduit, nuts, bolts, bungees, and a tarp. And that also just leads into, if any little piece goes wrong, if anything breaks, it's easy to replace. Like I said, you can get this stuff anywhere, simple ratchet or a wrench, and you're good to go. And also, it just works perfectly like any other awning should. Now, the only really cons of this awning is it's not maybe as aesthetically pleasing. It's not as beautiful as a store-bought awning, but it is a conversational piece. There's another pro. And it maybe takes a couple more minutes to set up than a regular awning, but it's still quick, still works great. That's about it.
That's honestly, if I was to try to go into any more cons, I'd be really reaching.
I'm honestly struggling to think of any other more cons. Now, this awning's been through some harsh weather, strong wind, heavy rain. Other awnings have collapsible legs. This one, you just lower one down like that. Works fine. In the wind, you can guy line it over the poles, just like any other awning, and it holds up just fine. After 2 years, it has yet to fail. Now let's talk about the build. These nuts, bolts, washers, the holes I've drilled, all original from 2.5 years ago. And maybe a tiny bit of rust, but they work good as new. I've never had to tighten them. I've never had to really do much of anything. The bungees, original. This is the original tarp. I've had no tears, like I said, no issues. The mounting has changed a little bit, just as my roof rack has gone through a couple different iterations. You've probably seen that in some of our vlog videos. But this thing's all original. I've drilled out a hole a little bit bigger so that this bar sits further down. Other than that, it's kind of really the only change. Some final thoughts. Ultimately, I would do this again. Budget, $100, size, bigger than most at 8x8. 2 years it's lasted and it's good as new. If you're interested in building one yourself, we have a complete dedicated build video. I'll post it in the description below. And thank you again, Max and Natalie, for the inspiration. If you want to follow them, LR110 Travels on Instagram. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. Consider being part of the Bender fam by subscribing. And if you want to be notified of content as it's released, consider hitting that notification bell. This is Dylan from Trail Benders Overland. I guess that's it for this video. I need some coffee. It's just a little dried out.